Hello and welcome. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Norlene Ebel Ame. We begin the news with the activities of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Activities marking the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebrations formally came to a close nationwide with the symbolic wreath-laying ritual at the cenotaph of the unknown soldier in Abuja, the nation's capital. The epoch-making and solemn occasion, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, took place at the National Arcade. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is an annual event set aside to honor the nation's fallen heroes who sacrificed their lives during the world wars, the Nigerian Civil War, as well as the various peacekeeping and internal security operations. This year's ritual is particularly significant as it coincides with the massive onslaught against terrorism, insurgency, and other criminal activities in parts of the country. In the last 7 days, for instance, over 110 terrorists were neutralized and nearly 400 livestock recovered in various military operations. The need to appreciate the contributions of the troops towards the restoration of normalcy in troubled spots as well as protection of the nation's territorial integrity is therefore of great importance. Laying of the wreath at the cenotaph of the unknown soldier by President Muhammadu Buhari was indeed the climax of the solemn commemorative activities kicked off in October last year. The president was joined by Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo, Senate President Ahmed Lawan, Speaker Femi Bajabiamila of the House of Representatives, Chief Justice of Nigeria, as well as Ministers of Defense and the FCT. There were also the Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs, and the Inspector General of Police, as well as representatives of the Diplomatic Corps, the Nigerian Legion, and widows of the fallen heroes. Special prayers were offered for the repose of the souls of the departed soldiers, as well as peace, unity, stability, and prosperity of the country.
Lord God, bless and protect our government and political leaders at all levels. Reward their struggle with great success for us all.
بين القوات المسلحة النيجيرية والإرهابيين في شمال الشرق النيجيري.
Grant unto us who are alive grace, courage, and determination to keep the flag of selfless service to our fatherland flying.
At the launch of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day Emblem and Appeal Fund last October, President Muhammadu Buhari made a strong case for Nigerians to desist from actions and comments that are inimical to the stability and prosperity of Nigeria. He said Nigeria's unity has been achieved at great cost and must therefore be guarded jealously by all, as the strength of the nation lies in her diversity. In Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Laying the wreath at the tomb is an age-old military tradition which dates back to Memorial Day in 1868 in the U.S. To symbolize the beauty and brevity of life in this report, defense correspondent Najatu Tijani tells us more about other symbols identified with the Armed Forces Remembrance Day.
Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic.
When the president lays the wreath, it is termed a most solemn ceremony in observance of the National Remembrance Day, more solemn than other wreath-laying ceremonies by other dignitaries. The general salute used to welcome the president, the chief of defense staff and other service chiefs, as well as other dignitaries, is another military tradition. It is a mark of respect accorded to high-ranking officers and other dignitaries. A unique type of salute is the respect that is rendered over a grave by a military honor guard. Originally, 3 rifle volleys were fired into the air over the grave of a fallen soldier. This custom may well have originated as a perceived need to scare away evil spirits escaping from the dead. Today, the homage and respect displayed at military funerals is a visible final tribute to those individuals who have served their country. The Unknown Soldier is a monument dedicated to the services of an unknown soldier. It symbolizes the common memories of all soldiers killed in war. The réveil, le réveil in French, is a bugle or trumpet call, chiefly used to wake military personnel at sunrise. The name comes from réveil, the French word for wake up. Another interpretation of the call is that one day the soldiers will rise again. There are many more symbols which are part of military tradition, but these are the ones which are apt for this occasion of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
In this next report, defense correspondent Naja'atu Tijani again looks at current landmark achievements by the Nigerian military in tackling security challenges in the land.
From highlights of Defense Headquarters coordinated operations in 2020 to projections concerning military operations in 2021, the security checklist proffered by the Presidency on the occasion of Armed Forces Remembrance Day is full of commendation for past victory and expected progress. On internal security, the Presidency says Boko Haram is much weaker today than in 2015, as attested to by the Governor of Borno State, who said, quote, "Today, Bama is coming back to life, and so is Askira Uba, Damboa, Goza, and others. Life is even returning to Baga. This was impossible before Buhari." The armed forces of Nigeria, comprising the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy, and Nigerian Air Force, from 18 March to December 2020, neutralized 2,403 criminal elements across the country, in addition to scores of other terrorists and armed bandits killed during airstrikes. Equally, 1,910 criminal elements were arrested, and a large cache of arms, ammunition, and equipment were recovered during the period. The military also carried out several missions and operations in the South-South. More than 8 million liters of stolen AGO automated gas oil and more than 33 million liters of dual-purpose kerosene were impounded by troops of Operation Delta Safe and other Nigerian Navy patrols. Troops immobilized a total of 185 illegal refining sites, 85 dugout pits, and more than 100 metal storage tanks within the period. In the southwest, troops of Operation Awasi impounded a total of more than 10 million liters of premium motor spirit, more than 15,000 barrels of stolen crude oil, and 345,000 liters of stolen automated gas oil. In the northeast, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Doli in different airstrikes neutralized notorious Boko Haram terrorist commanders. Meanwhile, since 2015, the Nigerian military has continued to achieve success in the northeast. Specifically, the revitalization of the multinational joint task force comprising Nigeria and her neighbors, relocation of the military command and control center to Maiduguri in June 2015. Since then, several towns and villages have been reclaimed from Boko Haram, and thousands of hostages have been freed from terrorist enclaves. And in the projection for 2021 to 2022, the federal government continues to invest heavily in military hardware, including 23 new aircraft which have already been delivered and inducted into service, while another 18 manned aircraft and 8 unmanned combat aerial vehicles are being awaited. This is in addition to attack boats, patrol vessels, armored tanks, and other platforms. The Army established the special mobile strike teams in the northeast, while the Air Force has established and continues to establish new bases in various parts of the northwest and north central. And with the launch of Exercise Temakoyazu on 2nd January 2021, the Nigerian Air Force conducted a joint combat search and rescue special forces and air police canine simulation exercise at Rijana village along Kaduna-Abuja highway. With these achievements, the presidency says the ground is set for more successes in 2021 and beyond. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Najatu. I am being joined in the studio by the former Director, Army Public Relations, General Sani Kukasheka, to talk more on gains of the armed forces, civil-military relations and projections. Sir, I salute you on your day.
Thank you very much. It is a day for all of us anyway.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Now tell us how significant is the Nigerian Armed Forces Remembrance Day to the people and the nation?
It is because you have to juxtapose it with the importance of military in any given society. And if we are talking about Nigerian context, the armed forces have been doing marvelously well in terms of defense and security issues in this country. Therefore, it is good that they are being appreciated. And also the public, for them to appreciate the armed forces, it really boosts their morale and give them sense of belonging. So in any way you look at it, it's very important to both sides.
All right, now let's look at the objective of this day. Over the years, how has it been, the objective, has it been achieved over these years?
Well, I think it's an ongoing thing. You don't have a terminal date for appreciating, efforts of, key component of Nigerian society like the military. And it is not just the military. Appreciation, I think, is an indefinite thing. So talking about objectives, yes, to some extent is being met in the sense that over time, there are improvements and development in terms of the relationship between the military and the civilian populace. And if you look at it today, it is so wonderful to see quite a number of Nigerians, thanking the military for their services, praying for the repose of the souls of those our departed colleagues who have paid the supreme price. And the government is doing everything it could to ensure that these our departed colleagues did not die in vain in terms of welfare packages for their dependents that they left behind. So you see, it's something that is very dynamic and keep on improving over time. And as time goes on, the objectives are being adjusted to meet the circumstances or prevailing circumstances as it is. So it's being achieved.
All right, now let me still take you on the fallen heroes, their packages. You mentioned that now. How is the packages like? How is it like?
Well, nobody really has what he wants at any given time. And I know that efforts is being made both at the government level and at the services level. And there are so many layers of them. Take, for instance, there are, administrative provisions. Take, for instance, now, I think anybody who has volunteered to join the service and died on active service, the most you can give him first, there should be a decent and befitting burial, and you have to take care of his family and pray for the person. Now, when you talk about befitting, unlike in those days, especially in the fight against terrorism and insurgency, now the burial is most befitting of those who voluntarily, elect to serve in the military and in the course of duty lay down their lives. And beyond that, again, the government is making provisions for welfare package through the respective services in terms of scholarship, in terms of housing programs, in terms of insurance issue, so that the families they left behind are not allowed to suffer. And even though we may not have enough of it, there are certain gestures, and over time is being improved upon, and there are assurance on the part of the government. So it's something that is very commendable, and the efforts of the services too to complement the efforts of the government is also commendable. But by and large, there is still room for improvement.
All right, now away from that, amidst COVID-19, how is the civil-military relationship like?
Well, it is the relationship, I would describe it as very cordial because the COVID-19 brought about challenges that have never been envisaged by any component of the Nigerian society. In fact, the world at large, more or less that, the world was caught unawares, and it exposed the vulnerabilities of the various systems, regardless of whatever it is, even among the developed countries. In fact, they have it, according to their projection, that corpses will be lying down on the streets of, the African countries. And we are lucky, we were able to manage it very well. And the armed forces are part of the success stories. Take, for instance, the various services have opened a lot of, hospitals that serve as isolation centers, and they adhere to the protocol, to the extent that, if you look at it, the barracks is kind of a miniature Nigeria, and we have not had cases of, massive infection of these diseases, and they go out of their ways to assist the Nigerian society. So, this, cement the mutual relationship between the military and the civil populace, and it's ongoing. And beyond the medical aspect of it, there are other, humanitarian assistance being delivered, by the military, in terms of provision of medicare, intervention in education, other infrastructural development, as well as the medical care itself.
Okay, that's a good one. Thank you so much, General Sani Usman Kukasheka, for your thoughts on Nationwide. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure too.
All right. We pause to remember our fallen heroes. Stay tuned. As the country marks the annual Armed Forces Day ceremony to remember its fallen heroes, military experts on Good Morning Nigeria are calling for an intentional approach towards breaking the social divide between civilians and military personnel, which they say is key in improving civil-military relations in the country. Daniel Aderi tells us more.
The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. These are words enshrined in the nation's national anthem, emphasizing the service of Nigeria's fallen heroes who have paid the supreme price in battle for protection of the nation's territorial integrity and sovereignty. Good Morning Nigeria guests say, even while we honor their sacrifices, efforts must be made to improve the welfare of the living service personnel, either serving or retired.
One of the best ways to honor a fallen hero is to honor, revere, and support those soldiers that are living, and support the families of those fallen heroes that are living.
Other guests, however, stressed the need for infusion and partnerships with private sector to cushion the effect of funding the military by the government so as to ensure availability of military hardware, which in turn guarantees adequate protection of Nigeria's borders.
Once private individuals are involved, it will help. But to say that again, it should come from government to set aside certain funds for all legionnaires. We should enhance even the pension and make sure that people who have retired get their pension as at when due.
There is a deliberate effort, I think, from this year, 2021, to begin to establish a firm, reliable statistical platform.
They called for support and encouragement of serving officers currently fighting the war against terrorism and banditry in the northeast and northwest of the country.
To alleviate the sufferings and improve the living conditions of families of Nigerian fallen heroes, Akwa Ibom State Government has injected the sum of 100 million naira to boost the small and medium-scale businesses of wives of fallen heroes. The governor announced this during the laying of a remembrance wreath in honor of Nigerian fallen heroes in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Susan Asuko reports.
Some of my children don't finish school. They don't do anything. Some are tailor, not get money to buy machine.
Because we are suffering a lot, and our children, and we have no help. There's nothing being done, and we don't have anywhere to enter.
That, of course, has been the ordeal of widows and family members of Nigerian soldiers who paid the supreme price in the course of defending the territorial integrity of this nation. The 100 million naira small and medium-scale business grant by the Akwa Ibom state government is therefore coming to ease the sufferings of the widows. Governor Dom Emmanuel, at the laying of Remembrance Wreath, which is part of the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day, enjoined all Nigerians to work together to ensure that the sacrifices of slain soldiers are not in vain. He stressed the need for everyone to refrain from agitations that can only cause division in the country.
We must not only utter words of encouragement and appreciation, but must spare our thoughts and wallets to the families they left behind. We must not allow the memories of the gallant men and women whom we are honoring here today rot in the wilderness of neglect, squalor, and forgetfulness. We must honor their sacrifices by lending our shoulders to their survivors and soak their veins with love, care, and eternal gratitude.
Marked on January 15 every year, the events featured the laying of wreaths, 21 gun salutes by the military, prayers for the peace of the state and the nation, as well as blowing of the last post in honor of the fallen heroes. From the cenotaph, Uyo, Susan Asukwa, NTA News.
More on 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day with Adiola in our Lagos studios. Hi, Adiola.
Hello, Nolan. Good to see you. Lagos State Government will continue to engage the services of retired servicemen of the armed forces and leverage on their wealth of experience to strengthen the security architecture of the state. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu stated this after the wreath-laying ceremony to commemorate this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day in Lagos. Musa Toliat has details.
It was yet another time of the year when serving officers of the Nigerian Armed Forces come out in their colorful ceremonial uniforms to honor ex-servicemen and pay glowing tributes to the departed veterans of the armed forces. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu lauded the arduous task being carried out by the armed forces to decimate insurgencies and curb banditry across the country. He, however, acknowledged the patriotism displayed by the fallen heroes to defend the country against external attacks.
It's been also a testimonial and it's a yearly ritual that we're thankful to God that we can still keep this year's activity as important as it is. We're still able to observe all of the protocols, and you can see that everything has gone very, very well.
Inspection of guard of honor by Governor Sanwo-Olu, wreath-laying session, as well as 3 gun salutes were integral part of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is commemorated in Nigeria on January 15 every year. More importantly, it is a day set aside to reassure the dependents of the fallen heroes that they are not alone.
In a related development, Governor Sanwo-Olu has announced the composition of a 4-man committee to work out modalities with the family of the deceased former military administrator of Lagos State, Rear Admiral Ndubisi Kanu, for befitting burial. He disclosed this when he paid a condolence visit on the family of the late Rear Admiral.
But just to reiterate and to confirm to you that the state will be fully participating in the program leading to the final burial.
The former military administrator, late Rear Admiral Ndubisi Kanu, who died on the 13th January, was a prominent voice in Nadeko and was also at the helm of affairs in Lagos State between 1977 and 1978. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Not done with the Armed Forces Remembrance Day yet. As the nation remembers the sacrifices of its fallen heroes and members of the armed forces currently on the front lines and several theaters of operations, some war veterans have appealed to the federal government to look into the welfare of ex-servicemen and their families. Dotun Oguyemi has the report.
Commonwealth countries, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day is celebrated on the 11th of November yearly. But Nigeria, however, moves that date to January 15th to accommodate the commemoration of the end of the Nigerian Civil War in 1970. Now, the day is set aside to celebrate the sacrifices and gallantry of members of the Nigerian Armed Forces, as well as remember veterans who paid the ultimate price in the defense of the nation's territorial integrity and fought in the World Wars I and II, as well as the Nigerian Civil War. From the grounds of the Memorial Arcade, I went in search of some of these veterans whom the day has been dedicated to. At the office of the Nigerian Legion, Oshodi, I met retired Major Salahuddin Agbajilola, who left the army after 12 years of service following a leg injury.
I'm a driver. I'm driving the powerhouse, those electricians. So that is when I returned from the war front. But at that time, I'm not hearing well. So I was retired by then and later joined this Nigerian Legion in 1978.
Although the Nigerian Legion provides solace for these ex-servicemen, it is not without its challenges, as retired Colonel Samuel Folakonde explains.
We have people now dying. Their children now become nobody to take care. They full our barrack here. There are 9 brigade barrack. There are many barracks. In thousands. There must be a way to look into their affairs and behave educationally.
Unlike other events celebrated under the shadow of COVID-19, the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day stands out as a unique event. In Lagos, Dotun Okunyemi, NTA News.
Now to infrastructure. The Kano-Maradi rail project has been described as a courageous move by the federal government in its desperate attempt to rejuvenate domestic and international trade. Beyond this benefit, transportation experts are looking at the potential of the project to unlock the untapped investment in the northern part of the country. Michael Olaleye reports.
The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, appending his signature to the birth of a strategic rail network. It is the 284-kilometer Kano to Maradi rail project, expected to serve as gateway to unearthing the wealth inherent across the Sahara. This is because the two major locations do not just share cultural trades, but they are major hub for transport and agricultural trade.
Even when I was not there, when I was director, we have been meeting with Niger government, and we moved one or twice to Unguru for them, and they will not use road and move their goods, but that's multiple handling. So if we say we stop Kano and stop at the border of Nigeria, and it's just 20 kilometers to a very big, busy hub, why it makes sense to take it there.
It is not just a project born out of intuition, but a fulfillment of a master plan with regional dominance as the watchword, now that Africans must trade on a single platform.
Kano-Maradi rail project has been on the table since the tenure of Alhaji Umaru Diko as Federal Minister of Transportation. It's part of the 25-year program for development of the rail network in the country. Just as the federal government is presently concentrating on the West African coast, the rail line project being developed towards Dakar, it is the same concept that is being used for the Kano-Maradi rail project.
It's going to open up the northern states of Jigawa, Katsina states, and a lot of jobs will be provided to the indigenes during the construction.
The timing of the $1.96 billion project has generated divergent views, especially now that the country is in recession.
The best thing for any country during the period of recession is to develop infrastructure.
The single-track standard gauge line, expected to have 12 stations, is the continuation of the Lagos-Kano Railway, and it is believed that it will offer the much-anticipated seamless connection between the coastline and the Sahara deserts. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
It's time for us to go on our first break, and when we return, Suleiman in Kaduna will be up for the next set of stories. Thanks for joining us.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Do you know that 35% of every girl child and women are raped on a daily basis? Some are killed in the process, some take their lives in shame, others remain emotionally dead for life. It is sad. This culture is not ours, definitely not African. How did we allow bad culture to infiltrate and take over? Even if you lack fear for the law, what of fear of God? And you, why do you cover up rape acts when it happens? Remember, a problem shared is a problem half solved. Never cover any rape act because a rapist is a murderer. It could be you or your loved ones next. Women must be treated like the prize gem they are. Say no to rape.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the game changer, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Broadcasting in a digital economy, Maxwell Lobo gives an insight. This edition also features Nancy Naji of AIT, a name synonymous with business. Meet the NCDC boss, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu. TV Guide, your indispensable companion, also x-rays the relevance of social media in the modern society. Meet some TV professionals who have impacted their spaces and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Dropping 2 points from a winning position last week, Wolverhampton Wanderers will be excited to welcome struggling West Bromwich Albion to the Molineux Stadium. Will West Brom prove an easy 3 points? Find out as Wolverhampton Wanderers take on West Bromwich Albion on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 1 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Papai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up, in association with Gold.com.
Adiola there in our Lagos Network Center. Kaduna State government says it will come up with a realistic way of assisting families of the fallen heroes for their meritorious service to their fatherland. The State Deputy Governor Hadiza Balarabe disclosed this during the Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration in Kaduna. How's the details?
It was an emotional moment for many here when dignitaries took their turn in the symbolic lane of wreath in honor of the fallen heroes. heroes who paid the ultimate price for the unity of Nigeria. Retired Yakubu Ali is one of the ex-servicemen who took part in the Nigerian Civil War.
In fact, that was terrible. About a week, we didn't even remove shoes, we didn't do water, suffering up and down.
21 gun salutes and a minute silence as tribute to the heroes.
We'll continue in our own way to support them and to always be with them. And we'll remember those ones that have gone before us. And that we will realize that we are all together as one, and that peaceful coexistence is the best that we can do for ourselves.
Emir of Zazzau, Nur Ahmad Bamali, and the Speaker of Kaduna State House of Assembly were among dignitaries who graced the occasion. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajinki, NTA News.
Cultural enthusiasts and opinion leaders are expressing concern over cultural degradation and values, which are part of the reasons for moral decadence in the society. This brought to the fore the need for communities, religious and traditional leaders to work together for reintegration of cultural and ethical values identified with the people. Against this background, Ibrahim Sani engages some concerned citizens in Jigawa State who believe that such efforts will revive the lost glory identified with the region and the nation as a whole.
Nigeria was known for its attractive cultures, norms and values, as well as arts and crafts, in addition to generosity and mutual respect embedded in the way and manner people live their lives in the region. People in northern Nigeria are known for their hospitality, mutual respect, love for one another and being accommodating. Cultures in the region which form part of the people's life were admired by all, including the tourists who visited the region during festivities such as Salah festivities, traditional competitions, and turbaning ceremonies, among other attractive events which showcase the rich cultural heritage identified with people in the region. These cultural values also reflected in the way things are done by people, especially in the area of human interactions, resilience, generosity, attitude, and general behavior, among other values identified with people in the region. However, sadly, there are concerns upon which how these values are declining over time.
We are commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is compulsory that we emulate Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam in all his deeds.
That original home training has been lacking, or it has been kept aside. Child is not only for one man, it's not only for his parents. Child training actually is both for the community and the society.
Something that especially the traditional institution has to do, the ulamas have to do in terms of especially so those aspects that go against the tenets of Islam.
However, there is a need for children to be enrolled into schools to acquire Western and Islamic education to make their future bright. Induce Ibrahim Sani, NTA.
More reports ahead in our Abuja studio.
All right, let's talk health now. Latest figures from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, indicate 1,479 new cases of coronavirus in 24 states and the FCT, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 105,478 in Nigeria. Lagos reported 697 new cases, followed by the FCT, which recorded 201. Nasarawa has 80, Plateau 74, Rivers 62, Edo 46, Adamawa 43. Other states recording new cases are Delta with 31, Anambra 27, Oyo 24, Kano 21, Abia and Enugu 19 each, Ogun 18, Sokoto 12, Bauchi and Taraba 7, Ekiti, Gombe and Imo 4 each, Bayelsa and Jigawa 2, and Zamfara 1. Lagos, the FCT, Plateau and Kaduna remain top on the breakdown of cases per state, with 20,243 active cases being managed across the country. 83,830 cases have been discharged, while the death toll has risen to 1,405. And still on health, National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control NAFDAC says it has not received any application from any COVID-19 vaccine manufacturer, and no vaccines have been approved by NAFDAC. Director General NAFDAC, Professor Mojishola Adeye, said this at an emergency virtual conference. Hamman Jabani reports.
With the approval of some COVID-19 vaccines, there are indications that fake COVID-19 vaccines are already in circulation around the world, Nigeria inclusive. It is in light of this that the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is asking government establishments and agencies not to order COVID-19 vaccine without confirmation from NAFDAC. The agency says it is discussing with the manufacturers of candidate COVID-19 vaccine concerning potential emergency use authorization, registration or licensing of their products as the case may be, while assuring applicants that if phase 3 clinical data are convincing and robust with regards to safety and efficacy and the vaccines has been submitted for WHO emergency use listing, NAFDAC will welcome the application for emergency use authorization in Nigeria.
Despite the use of reliance for the emergency use authorization, NAFDAC will note clinical peculiarities in form of serious or adverse events following immunization in the dossier that we are reviewing or in the application. This is to serve as a guide and caution for what to look for in each subject after immunization, i.e. during the active pharmacovigilance phase.
The agency says it is collaborating with sister agencies and partners, plans to use traceability with GS1 technology and monitor vaccine distribution while assuring Nigerians that any dossier will be evaluated before being used in Nigeria despite WHO's approval. Hanman Jabani, NTA News.
However, from health to education now, the Federal Ministry of Education now maintains that the school resumption date of Monday, 18th January still remains. A statement from the ministry indicates that the decision was reached after comprehensive meetings with state governors, commissioners of education, proprietors of private schools, and heads of institutions, unions, parents, and students associations to appraise the situation. It directs parents and respective institutions to ensure full compliance with COVID-19 protocols, such as compulsory wearing of face mask by all students, teachers, and workers. The statement encouraged schools to ensure temperature checks and hand-washing facilities at strategic locations, constant supply of water and sanitizers, enforcement of maintenance of social distancing, and suspension of large gatherings, such as assembly and visiting days. It also called for other measures, including limitations in class sizes and hostel occupancy, availability of functional health clinics with facilities for isolation and transportation of suspected cases to medical facilities, amongst other non-pharmaceutical protocols. Let's now join Chinyere Fesi Okoye in our Enugu Network Center for more reports from that zone. You're on, Chinyere.
Thank you and welcome to Enugu. In line with federal government's directive for schools to resume on the 18th of January 2021, schools in Enugu State have activated the COVID-19 safety protocols ahead of the resumption. James Opare-Kosha is monitoring the level of compliance with COVID-19 protocols in some schools in the state.
This is the administrative block of Federal Government College here in Enugu. I have with me the director/principal of the college, Raji Moritala Adewale. Sir, how ready is your school in regard to COVID-19 protocols?
We are ready to receive students, and the directive from COVID-19 preventive measures are all in place. We have gadgets for washing hands at strategic location around the college, equally for visitors entering the admin block.
That's the Chairman Parent Teachers Association, Shima Nwodo. How have you been able to communicate to the parents and the students in preparatory to resumption on Monday?
Yeah, we've done that through messages from our platform. We have PTA platform, the school platform. We disseminate information to them.
Also, the clinic is ready, preparatory to the receiving of the students, both the wards as well as even isolation center. They are renovating the classrooms, putting tiles on them, as well as single lockers this time around. The story is the same at the Spring of Life International School here in Enugu. On arrival at the school compound, somebody is already standing by to test the temperature of the visitors. After that, you will be referred to the hand washing machines, which is automatic.
We have put everything in place. The water stations are in place. The buckets in front of classrooms are in place. The spacing is in place. Teachers are ready.
I think the students and teachers, as well as the proprietors of schools here in Enugu State, are ready for resumption on Monday, 18th of January, 2021. Here in Enugu, James Oparikocha, NTA News.
Thank you, James. A low-key activity was today held at the 82 Division Parade Ground in Enugu to commemorate the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day in honor of the ex-servicemen and fallen heroes of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Major feature of the event was a cash and material donation to the widows of the fallen heroes and the Army Officers' Wives Association, NAOA, by the State Governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. Susan Eze has the reports.
A stanza of the Nigerian national anthem assures the nation's heroes that their labor shall never be in vain. In keeping with this promise, the activities of the annual Armed Forces Remembrance Day resonate the sacrifices of the heroes to their fatherland. Unfortunately, the current health challenge of coronavirus slowed down the tempo of this year's celebration as the event was devoid of the usual military parade.
Continue to pray for the Almighty God to repose their souls in perfect peace. And we continue to pray for our colleagues who are in the front line, as well as we continue to pray for the nation.
At the solemn ceremony, the state governor, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, donated bags of rice and the sum of 5 million naira to the widows of the fallen heroes and another 5 million to support the skills acquisition work of the 82 Division Army Officers' Wives Association, NAOA. The GOC 82 Div, Major General Asisi Adeboye, and the chairperson 82 Div NAOA appreciated the support of the state government to the Army. Air Officer Commanding Air Force Ground Training Command, Air Vice Marshal Diamin, was also part of the event. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
All right, that was our Enugu Network Center. Now to Abuja. Residents of Owerri, the Imo State capital, have expressed reservations over the possibility of meeting deadline on the NIN SIM registration. Beatrice Anyam, who visited some centers in Owerri, reports on the challenges faced by registrants.
A visit to some NIN centers in Owerri, the Imo State capital, shows that while a large crowd besieged the centers, the registration process is moving at a slow pace.
They are not supposed to work with one computer, and the light is not steady.
They say there is no form. The form for today is finished. So I don't know the possibility of one actualizing this thing.
Some of the people who said they have spent days in their attempt to get registered decried hard times being faced and called on the government to provide adequate logistics to enable them meet the NIM SIM synchronization deadline.
I began this journey since 3 days now. And nothing good is coming out of it. I came here, they just rushed me and give me a form to buy it at the price of 50 naira. Okay. Then I tell them that I want to go inside. They say, look at the population of people that are here. If I want to do express, that I will bring 4,500 naira. But the normal price is 2,000 naira.
Despite efforts to get the officials to respond to the issues raised, the officers in charge declined comment, citing lack of permission from their headquarters in Owerri. Beatrice Anyam, NTA.
We will be joining our Jos Network Center for reports trending from there, and Felicia is our guide. Over to you, Felicia.
Kingdom to Jos. Activities marking this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day have ended in Jos with a call on Nigerians to assist the families of the fallen heroes who fought for corporate existence of the country. Rinrate Silvanus Lott reports.
Those who laid wreath to bring the week-long activity to a close include Governor Simon Lalong, Commander of the 3 Armored Division, Commander Operation Safe Haven, State Commissioner of Police, Chairman of Legion of Ex-Servicemen, and Chairman State Council of Chiefs. Then came the 3-gun salute to signify duty, honor, and sacrifice of those who laid their lives for the unity of the nation.
This is the time to also support the armed forces in the fight against insurgency and generally the fight to restore peace in Nigeria and particularly in Plateau State. Let us not continue to condemn the armed forces. We have seen a series of people who have sacrificed their lives for the sake of this country. Let me once again condole them for the loss of so many of our soldiers, especially during the fight against insurgency.
The symbol of peace was released as officers and men of the armed forces prayed for a more united Nigeria.
The PG has just been released as a sign of peace in our land.
Those that have gone on, so their family, those they've left behind, will know that yes, the labor of their late ones are not in vain.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day is yearly celebrated in remembrance of the fallen heroes. In Jos, Rinrate Silvanus Lott, NTA News.
That's the much we can take from Jos. It's back to you, Nolin, for what's left of Nationwide.
Thank you, Felicia. Next is a sports update.
Many thanks for joining us on Sports Update. I'm Bade Adeleye. We begin with continental football as the 2 finalists at the Waffle Beyond the 17 Championship in Lomé, Togo are set to emerge this evening. Nigeria play Burkina Faso in the first semi-final with Cote d'Ivoire and Niger Republic clashing in the other last for a counter. In the meantime, General Secretary of the Nigeria Football Federation, Mohamed Sanusi, has commended decision makers for ensuring the return of live broadcast of Nigeria Professional Football League matches on national television.
Those players that are able, that are skillful, once the league is on, they will continue to exhibit their skills, they will continue to do well, and probably they could be seen by better clubs.
Meanwhile, Nigeria Professional Football League leaders Rivers United will be hoping to strengthen their lead atop the table when they play at home to Heartland FC on Sunday in one of the matchday 5 encounters. Champions Plateau United host Adamawa United, while it will be a battle of former champions when Enyimba and Kano Pillars face off. In a related development, the 2020-2021 season of the Nigeria National League is set to begin on 30th January 2021. The decision was reached at the league's annual general meeting in Abakaliki. And finally, Premier League action returns on NTA this weekend, with Super Eagles defender Shemi Ajayi's West Brom taking their relegation battle to Wolverhampton Wanderers at Molineux this Saturday in a match that will be live on NTA Network from 1 in the afternoon. Other pairings will see Fulham entertain Chelsea later on Saturday, with the big one between champions Liverpool and table toppers Manchester United coming up at Anfield on Sunday. And that concludes Sports Update. I'm Bade Adeleye.
And that concludes Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Thank you for your time. Do connect with NTA to stand against rape and rapists. I am Nolin Ebel Ame. Do have a lovely evening.